Hello everyone, this is RU Faria with my final thoughts and final review of the Ecx Torment short course truck, a two-wheel drive brushed. So I was kind of disappointed with this vehicle when I first got it. This is my first drive of it in this video, and I'll start off with the smaller things. Okay, the first one is the tires. Tires were complete garbage. I literally put some Rustler tires on after this, and it performed way better. Now, I'm not going to show you footage of that because I'm focusing on just the stock car and the stock setup the way it is. Now, I have to say that with the port traction that it has, it was very interesting because whenever you would drive this thing off the start, it would be really hard to control, but once you got up to speed, it would actually stay relatively straight. And it kind of acted a lot like a street car, which was very interesting. The other thing about the tires is that these tires are very hard, so that's why you don't get as much traction, but it will make the tires last a lot longer. Now is for the big problem. The stock ESC and the stock motor that comes with this thing is really bad, or at least I thought. The motor doesn't have to have a ton of speed. It had an okay amount of speed, but the main thing that I was really concerned about and really didn't like was the amount of torque. This vehicle has very low torque, and whenever it's driving, when you hit it at full speed, it will bog down and you won't be getting consistent runs. And even if it is at max speed, those tires are so bad that it will not gain traction and you won't get as good of runs. Now, in a couple of videos you'll see is when it leans over and turns. When you see it lean over, I actually don't let off the throttle at all. This is full throttle right here in some not really deep snow. And it was really, really bad because look, I'm on full speed and I'll turn over and the whole thing, I will have the throttle completely pegged, just like you see right here, and it bogs down. I am all the way at the bottom and it has to gain its speed again. Now in this footage, this is actually a stock Duratrax Evader brushed motor. And when we put this thing in, it performed way better than the stock motor. It was running on the same ESC and it still had the same bogging down issues, but it was way better with that engine than the stock one. Now, the thing about this vehicle is that it has a pretty good amount of durability. I crashed this thing into a couple of walls and a couple of propane tanks and a couple of trees, and the only thing that broke was the chassis bars or chassis braces that are on the side that are supposed to save your chassis from breaking. And I only broke the mount. Nothing else broke except the mount. Nothing else on this vehicle broke. I have everything fine. I have not had to fix it really at all. I just had to super glue that. Now, the thing that's good about this vehicle is that the steering servo has a ton of torque. It actually works really good. It can get up to that top speed pretty easily if you know how to manage your throttle and know how to turn it. The body looks really nice whenever it's driving. It looks really cool when it drives. But I have to say that when I was driving this thing, that stock ESC and that stock motor were really, really bad. Now, for a kid starting off, I think it might be relatively good. You know, he's not going to be breaking it as much, but I think as a kid, I would want a little bit more than this. So here's more. I put a brushless motor in with a different ESC, and that thing performed way better. That way I was able to go over some rough terrain without the engine bogging down. I was able to get some consistent runs out of it and ended up with that really bad tire traction. With the amount of speed I had, it was able to keep up and I can actually get it to traction roll. And it actually performed way better. So after that, I started taking it over to some jumping. The stock suspension setup the way it is, like I mentioned before, is it dives under braking, squats under acceleration, and leans over and turns. But it jumps really well. Whenever I would hit a jump, if it was off a little bit, you can oftentimes rely off of the parachuting effect of the body where it'll actually fix itself. Now, the thing is it doesn't have a lot of control in the air. It kind of just stays the way it is. It kind of stays level. It doesn't really swap ends on you, which is really good. Now, I have to say that whenever I was driving this thing, when I put that new engine in and started driving it, I actually started to really like it. It looks like a realistic truck, and it looks really cool when it drives. Even with the parachuting effect, I think if it lasts longer in the air, it looks like it's a real short course truck. Now, to sum up my final thoughts, I think the Ecx Torment is an okay car. It has some good things and some bad things. The main bad thing is the engine and the ESC. Just replace those if you're thinking of going brushless. If you're getting this for a kid, I think it might be okay for a kid, but if you want him to have a better experience, maybe put in a brushless motor or a cheap brushed motor that will make this thing perform a lot better. Everything else about this thing, if you get all that out of the way and replace the tires, even with just stock Rustler tires, it'll perform much better. So anyways, that's going to be the end of this review. If you like what you see, make sure you subscribe and like the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.